Can you guys hear me? I cannot hear anybody.
Now you are.
Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Pull it up in the brand new. Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Pull it up in the brand new. Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Pull it up in the brand new. Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Pull it up in the brand new boy. 300 dash in the pay straight gas ain't gone for you niggas just boring. AP it called me 50. AP model oh yeah she with me. Living life like I'm Diddy. In the kitchen with Whitney. Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Trap house jumping like Jordan. Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Trap house jumping like Jordan. AP it called me 50. Model oh yeah she with me. Living life like I'm Diddy. In the kitchen with Whitney.
Trap house jumping like Jordan. J's in the hood they snort. The double car lean on board. Yo bitch whipping in the early morning. Pull up in the drop top phantom. Niggas in the hood can't stand me. Wood gang is so special. I'm whipping up the whole bank cage. I got Miley, I got White, Marilyn Manson. I went to the jeweler cash out on a new P down my diamond dance. Yo bitch think I'm romantic. My cook game is frantic. My wood game make you panic. My plug is Phil Jackson. Feeling like Matumbo. I got all these kush balls. Looking at the Tessico. You smoking on Reginald. Drop game Elvis Presley. You can't impress. Dark skin, hoe cook up the dough, she look like this.
Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Pulled up in a brand new Ford. 300 dash in a paycheck. Can't take up for you niggas just going. AP, it called me 50. AP, model, oh yeah, she with me. Living life like I'm Diddy. In the kitchen with Whitney. Trap house jumping like Jordan. Trap house jumping like Jordan. Get a trap house jumping like Jordan. Trap house jumping like Jordan. AP, it called me 50. Model, oh yeah, she with me. Living life like I'm Diddy. In the kitchen with Whitney. Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Pulled up in a brand new Ford. 300 dash in a paycheck. Can't take up for you niggas just going. AP, it called me 50. AP, model, oh yeah, she with me. Living life like I'm Diddy. In the kitchen with Whitney. Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Trap house jumping like Jordan. Got a trap house jumping like Jordan. Trap house jumping like Jordan. AP, it called me 50. Model, oh yeah, she with me. Living life like I'm Diddy. In the kitchen with Whitney.
Trap house jump like Jordan. J's in the hood, they snort. The double cup lean on board. Yo, bitch whipping in the early morning. Pull up in the drop top phantom. Niggas in the hood can't stand me. Wood gang is so special. I'm whipping up the whole bank cage. I got
Got to come down looking clean, rolling up the purple, sipping on the lean. Got to come down looking clean, rolling up the purple, sipping on the lean.
Check.
Got to come down looking clean, rolling up the purple.
Crypto Takeover about to start real soon. I'm your DJ host, Buck Rogers. Welcome out.
Down looking clean, rolling up the purple, sipping on the lean.
I could bet all of the riches that I have had. Fresh in the night like a shark fin, would it be bad? I could bet all of the riches that I have had. I could bet all of the riches that I have had.
On a Friday night, looking for a man that'll do me right. First move that I made was on the dance floor, broke it down one time, then I went for more. Physical action was happening now. Saw this young player dig through the crowd, looked over to my left and told my girl, hey, if I see him again, I'ma have to say,
Y'all look good to me. Now would you please swing my way? Shorty, swing my way.
Swing it over here, shorty.
Shorty, swing my way. Y'all look good to me. Now would you please swing my way? Shorty, swing my way, my way, my way, my way, my way, my way, my way.
Once again, welcome out to the Crypto Takeover show. We're really about to get things started very, very shortly. Welcome out nonetheless.
Remember how you did it. If you still wanna kiss it, come and get it. Sweeter than a rice cake, cake breast sipping, kill it, tip it, kill it. Remember how you did it, remember how you did it. If you still wanna kiss it, come get it. Sweeter than a rice cake, breast sipping, kill it, tip it, kill it.
I see the chat movement. What's up, chat? Name's Buck Rogers, coming from Austin, Texas.
Doggy want the kitty. Give me a heart attack and throw it back. Now watch me get it. I ain't gon' get it, but you the damn girl, you pretty. Blowing out your candles, let me make a couple wishes. Now watch me get it. 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 It's not even my birthday.
Gucci flip flops, can hit you to my side. Gucci flip flops, can hit you to my side. Gucci flip flops, can hit you to my side. This a big watch, diamond dripping off for the clock. Bad baby, got it bustin' for cash. Dash, how to play me now for the clock. Bad baby, got it bustin' for cash. Dash, how to play me now for the clock. Bad baby, got it bustin' for cash. Dash, how to play me bustin' yo, lot of gun sounds. Only bust down a lot of bags, they trash and they cash. Two official blow the whistle, fly as a bird. Take a picture, get your issue, get your dime away. Walk in the bank, get up, poke it at with a shake, pick it up. I'm about to loot your bag, make a double back and Gucci.
We're also pushing the limits of this M1. Running a stream and DJing on the same laptop.
Time, dropping the top, give it to them. Turn this shit up a notch. Gucci flip.
How we feeling out there, chat? What's up?
Kick rock. It's a big clock. Shake the wrist watch. Gucci flip flops. Can hit you to my side. It's a big watch. Diamonds dripping off for the clock.
When you run, come around, cause know you're the talk of the town, yeah.
When you run, come around, cause know you're the talk of the town, yeah.
When you run, come around, cause know you're the talk of the town, yeah.
When you run, come around, cause know you're the talk of the town, yeah.
It's a takeover. Run that shit up to the top, yeah, we run the block. Crypto takeover, got it locked. Cook and whip the block. Run that shit up to the top, yeah, we run the block. Crypto takeover, got it locked. Had to stack the crop, run it up cause I'm bearish with it. 10x on, I ain't scared, I get it. Decentralized, let me emphasize how I'm stacking a coin as an enterprise. Got hustle the block, I got the codes and the keys to the lock. It's a takeover, we hit for the guap, and you know we keep holding till we hit the top. Run that shit up to the top. Yeah, we run the block, crypto takeover, got it locked, cook and whip the block. Run that shit up to the top. Yeah, we run the block, crypto takeover, got it locked, had to stack the crop.
Hey guys, I'd like to thank everybody for our second crypto takeover. I know Blood Boy's about to jump in real quickly and talk to us and give us a quick little intro. Blood
Hey
Boy,
guys, I
There
am
he is.
there. Can everybody hear me?
proud of you. You look
Everybody?
great today, by the way.
Thank you. I figured I would get myself enough tan for the next 4 years when winter is about to hit here in Chicago. And I overdid it, and I underdid the suntan lotion. But thank you everybody for tuning in to the Crypto Takeover. It is our second episode now, and as usual, we have just slightly over 0 technical issues. So appreciate you enjoying the tunes of Buck Rogers. Buck, thank you for holding it down and spinning some amazing music. We're going live here. I just want to introduce everybody. First of all, we have the legend Buck Rogers.
What it do?
We have Storm from Storm Trading, our crypto analyst.
What's up, guys?
And we have Paul from Bought the Block, the co-host here.
What? Man, we're about to break open this bottle of Michter's real quick, so that way there we can get Whiskey Rogers going tonight.
I don't know if you want that.
All right, this show is now 18 and over. No, everybody pour yourself some whiskey. I probably should have poured myself some whiskey during the technical delay. But no, everybody, thank you for tuning in. We want to go over some exciting stuff in the market. The first thing we're going to tune in is we're going to have Storm give us a little overview of what is happening in the overall crypto markets. Storm, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share that screen real quick. Not sure if you guys want to put that screen up on the main screen.
Gino.
The trading view.
There you go, right there. Coming up.
That would be me.
Okay, well, I guess I can just start. If you guys can throw that shared screen up, it should be on the restream. But yeah, right now, nothing really too exciting in the last week. Here, yeah, let me.
You guys might think
Working
this is
on
our
it.
first stream, but really, it's our second stream.
It's our second. It's our second. So anyways, this long awkward pause brought to you by Michter's. When you get bored at night, grab some Michter's.
Pinky's out. Is my mic level good, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
Okay.
You're looking a little rosy.
Yep. There we go. All right, I'll cut it out. We're really figuring shit out as we're going here, guys. Oh, fuck it.
I think you got to go ahead and share, add Storm's screen as a source, not share your screen.
That's what I tried to do. What the fuck? Yo, this is crazy.
Storm, are you sharing just your individual screen?
Yeah, it's up. It's on restream.
All right, give me 1 sec, yo. Okay. Yeah, how the fuck do I get that now?
We're doing it like they do it in NASA. They just figure it out as they go. There's no pre-planning. There's no technical expertise. There's no measure twice, cut once. It's just get the rocket and you go.
Yeah, but Storm's looking good over there. That's getting nice and crisp. I see him.
You got to.
But low key on our end, we're not seeing the screen share aspect.
Let me
At least the feature for you to share your screen.
Storm, are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, I am. On restream though.
You
Yeah, I
should
know
be
that.
able to add it as a source on Restream.
We're in this together, guys.
This momentary pause is brought to you by Awkward. Awkward. It's always here.
Weird. Hold on, let's see if I got this loaded up still.
Oh, we got a comment from Chad. I'm about to share my screen. You know what, Fletcher? Go for it.
How to share a screen?
Just saw DJ Buck Rogers teleport from one channel to the other. Looky, while they figure out how to get that done, how's your day been going? How's it going for you in the market today?
You talking to Storm?
I mean, I am from the future.
I think we need Buck to start playing music again and give us a concert.
Well,
Yeah,
Buck might have to give us an encore right now.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a slight Buck intermission. When thing gets bucked, we go to Buck. It's never bucked up if Buck can come up. I have nothing shown.
Get up. Slow, steady, undress. Impress. Get up. Slow, steady, undress. Success. Slow, steady, undress. Impress. Get up. Slow, steady, undress. Success. Get up, get up, get up,
Oh yeah. Yo. Oh yeah. I'm the nigga. Oh yeah. Yo. I'm the nigga. Yo. I'm the nigga. Yo. I'm the
to view it. Middle ground, I know it keeps us all it has to slow. All it has with us slow. Understand me, I know, no mistaken. Time goes undeserved without everything, everyone. You know, you cause doesn't mean fall out. Have a thing I know. Understand me, I know, no mistaken. Time goes undeserved without everything, everyone. You know, even will cause doesn't mean it's all I have a thing I know. All my life I want money and power. Respect my mind or die from last shout. I pray my dick get big as the Eiffel Tower, so I can fuck the world for 72 hours. Goddamn, I feel amazing. Damn, I'm in the matrix. My mind is living on cloud nine, and this nine is never on vacation. Start up that Maserati and vroom vroom, I'm racing. Popping pills in the lobby, and I pray they don't find her naked. You niggas is hating. Shooters go after Judas. Jesus Christ, if I live life on my knees, ain't no need to do this. Get in front of looters. Next to that church is chicken. All you pussies is losers. All my niggas is winning, screaming, 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 winning.
This is it, what? Lucini pouring from the sky, let's get rich, what? The G vibes and sugar dimes can't quit, what? Now pop the cork and steam the Vega and get lit, what? What? This is it, what? Lucini pouring from the sky, let's get rich, what? The G vibes and sugar dimes can't quit, what? Now pop the cork and steam the Vega and get lit, what?
All right, I think we're about ready to take this back over to the takeover. Appreciate everyone's patience out there, though.
They say if you took it all away, this love would fall apart. I say no way.
Just Blaze.
Paul, your mic is a little bit on the low.
And bring your mic up.
I got you. Is that better? Or am I echoing up there, by the way? Sounds like I am.
No, you're just hearing that from there.
Well, man, let's go ahead and go. Let's go ahead and toss the storm real quick, so that way there we can have him start talking about some storms.
We get that share screen figured out?
I believe we did.
All right. Once we get that screen up, I'll start running through some TA. There we go.
Hey.
That only took 30 minutes longer than expected. But yeah, so in terms of the market, guys, from the last time we streamed, not much has changed. Not of a lot of exciting movement from a macro TA perspective on Bitcoin or really the cryptocurrency market in general. I believe last week when we streamed, we had just kind of broke below that midpoint. But from a macro perspective, we're still ranging. So TA perspective in a very similar spot as we were last week. Obviously, if you've been following the market the last week, you might think that we're in a state of fear and panic because as you can see, the last week I think we've dropped maybe 7 or 8%. But I do want to show you guys something because I know I mentioned last time how you really want to have that mindset of zooming out when you look at the markets from a macro perspective, especially when you're dealing with things like meme coins. So here's the 30-minute chart, right, of price action on Bitcoin. If you're just to look at Bitcoin in this context, right, or any chart in this context, it looks super bearish, right? It's just been liquidation after liquidation after liquidation to the downside. Super strong bear trend. But again, this is the same chart as what I just showed you guys on the daily, just a little bit zoomed in. So this is the zoomed out picture. And so if I was to show you that same chart or the same asset on a different time frame, this doesn't look super scary at all, right? And so for me, it's just looking at the market with a zoomed out perspective. We're still in the exact same channel we've been in, or the same channel that I've had drawn out for maybe 2.5 months now, 3 months. So yeah, just we're ranging. Not much has changed. There's not been any major signs of weakness in the last week. We have decreased in price, but for me, we don't really show weakness on Bitcoin until we can break down through this channel and break this prior channel low around 50K. So from a TA perspective, very similar. One thing I did want to show you guys, though, that's a little bit different from last week, or at least to give some context as to why we're chopping so bad, is I want to bring up the halving cycle chart. So right here, I have the Bitcoin high-term time frame chart pulled up. These blue lines are Bitcoin halving dates, right? So as most people know, right, we had a recent halving in April. We've been chopping super hard since then, maybe 3 or 4 months. Pretty brutal, but this is what we were expecting, right? I drew this chart and made a video about it maybe 3 or 4 days after the halving. And the biggest thing I talked about was be ready for some chop, right? And the reason I said that was because if you look historically at the Bitcoin chart, Bitcoin always seems to do the same thing after a halving, right? So the general consensus of Bitcoin halvings is that it's very bullish, right? Bitcoin halving happens, long-term price seems to go up. It seems to kind of signify the start of a next leg or the continuation of a bull cycle. And so if we look back to the first halving, right, we had a 45-day chop period before we really broke out of that high. So price, this one is probably the least significant of the three, but we did have some chop. It wasn't like the halving happened and then we had that parabolic move up. The markets were kind of slow, indecisive for about a month and a half before we got that really big move up, which is marked by this green area on my chart. This red area is the bear market, right? So after we had that big move up after the halving, we went into a long-term bear market. After the bear market, this yellow zone is basically indicating a lead-in pump before the halving, right? So we zoom out. This is kind of what the entire cycle looked after the first halving. If we go to the second halving, very similar, right? We had that lead-in pump. We chopped for about 108 days, right? And then we had our big move up. And if I go down to the daily chart, you guys might be able to see this a little bit better, right? But the market definitely didn't go straight up from the halving, right? You had a massive liquidation after the halving. You had an extended, 3+ month cycle chop period, and then we had our big move up, right? If you go to the next cycle, right, after the bear market and the lead-in pump, we had the same thing. We had a 75-day chop. Markets were indecisive, and then we had that big explosive move up, which was the last top in the previous cycle. So where are we now? Very similar to what happened right after the last halvings. We're in that chop period, right? And I truly think the reason the markets tend to chop before big price movements is because they need to stop people out, right? It's that same theory I was talking about last week where markets find liquidity. Typically after a big event that's very bullish, that everyone knows is very bullish, like the crypto or the Bitcoin halving, you'll see a lot of people enter very big FOMO long positions, and the market has to sweep those longs, the retail longs and the dumb money before it gets that move up. So right now, I think we're just in that same channel we've been in the last 3 months, where we're ranging, we're taking liquidity, and the next move up, right? If we look at that liquidity heat map, is going to take out all the people who've been shorting the last 3 months. And right now, I mean, overall, the market's still very bearish and scared. The fear index is the same as it was last week, 26, right? So we're at the bottom of a range. We have a ton of liquidity to the upside. The market's in major fear. And so what you would expect is that continuation of the trend in that price discovery mode on Bitcoin. So that's pretty much all I had. I did actually, I'll talk a bit about ETH, I guess, as well. Pretty similar to Bitcoin, right? Like I said, uh, all altcoins tend to follow Bitcoin. ETH is no exception to that. The only thing I would note on Ethereum is it is showing a little bit more weakness than Bitcoin. We can see obviously the same channel that was drawn out on Bitcoin on Ethereum. We were ranging, but we had a much larger drop to the downside and actually a breakout and back test of that channel. From a TA perspective, that's a little bit more bearish, but I think inevitably if Bitcoin breaks up, Ethereum will as well. As with all those other altcoins, you're going to see the whole market kind of rebound and bounce and break all-time highs. So,
Thank you, Storm. Love the analysis. I think it's always nice to know that even though it's down a little bit, we're still in that channel. Really, really, great overview. I want to add in some interesting data on what you were talking about with the halving. So I decided to take a look and see when did key events happen in the 2020 bull run from the day of the halving, and how would that set us up for the halving that we had in 2024 for those key bull run dates. So if we look at when the bull run started, really it started to launch off on the EMA crossing over was about August 8th, 2020, and that was 150 days from the halving in 2020. If we took the same amount of days from the halving in 2024, it would put us at September 21st for takeoff. So that's great. That's where we're at in terms of time from the halving to the next step. Then we look at another key date over here, which was the Bitcoin dominance peak. When did that peak, which really shows us when Bitcoin's going to go to just establish its dominance, and you're not going to see as much liquidity on ETH and other chains. In 2020 bull run, it was on January 3rd of 2021, it peaked. And that was 237 days from the halving, and 87 days from the last event when the bull run, when it started to shoot up. It took 87 days for it to hit its peak of dominance. If we looked at the dates in terms of our bull run from the halving, that would put it at January 17th, 2024. So a couple months away, we would see Bitcoin dominance fully established. The first peak, it had two peaks, the bull run in 2020. In 2020, the first peak happened on April 21st, 2021, and that was 345 days from the halving. And if we took a look at what it would put us for this bull run, that would put us at April 4th, 2025 is when we would see the peak of Bitcoin. Things would just be flying. And then we have the all-time high from the last bull run was October 10th, 2021. So you get a really sort of like the insane levels from April all the way through October. And that would put us also around October of 2025 for this bull run. In terms of when the Bitcoin dominance dropped the most, it was in December 13th of 2021. That's when it went to its lowest, and that would put us in November of 2025. So if we're looking at things running the similar way with a similar pattern in time frames, I think that it's going to start gearing up at the end of this month, a little bit of sideways to upwards towards the end of the year. And then going into the beginning of next year, I think it's just going to get crazier and crazier. And peak hype is going to start happening in like Q1, end of Q1, Q2. and it's going to go through an insane summer if it follows a similar type of pattern. What's
Yeah.
your thoughts on that, Storm?
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's another thing I was gonna say is, I could definitely see Bitcoin, not performing well the next, 3 weeks or so. I believe, September historically is one of, if not the worst month, for cryptocurrency market caps, and, ever. So it wouldn't surprise me if we continue to do poorly through September, right? Maybe we get some more liquidations to the downside. Maybe we test this channel one more time. But at the end of the day, I do believe that this has a very strong chance to be the low. I think we've seen enough liquidations throughout this 3 months chop to push us to the upside. And like I said, we have so billions and billions of dollars that have been completely untapped in this entire range. So I posted and threw this channel up as we were making this high. So right around this area, very beginning of June, end of May, just, very clear back to this point, you can see there's a very clear channel. From that channel, right, we've been given a winning short trade, back test to the midpoint, winning long trade, winning short trade, winning long trade, a lot of back tests of this channel about a month ago. And now it looks like we're heading down to the bottom of that range. And if we do, and everything looks good where we get our swing failure pattern, we get that daily close back into the range, that will be another long signal for me. So I wouldn't be surprised if we continue down. Maybe we get to the 54K, 52K. Maybe we even, take that liquidity again around 50K. But I think that's very unlikely. I think, regardless of what happens in this range for the next month, I think, 6 months out in the future, we're looking, somewhere up above 70K. So also, the other thing I was going to say in terms of liquidations, right? Here's the liquidation chart that I showed last week. If I zoom out, let me zoom out. Actually, no, this is good. So you can see the billions of dollars of liquidity resting to the upside, and you can see there's very, very little liquidity to the downside. That also, adds to my thesis of why I don't think we're going to take out this low. There's just not that much liquidity there, right? The market has been in a state of fear. There's no one really longing down here, right? No one has gotten super excited. So there's been no liquidity generated to the downside. So I think the market wants to and is going to take out these highs very soon.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that September is going to be more chop, more overstated ugliness. I say overstated because we're still in a Bitcoin range of around 60,000 in a nice tight range. It's definitely been much worse before. I expect with the rate cuts is going to help. With the elections, we usually see the same type of pattern. There's different ways you can chart things, whether it's from the halving or elections. And last time we had an election, it was a very similar pattern where we went sideways, started curving upwards at the end of the year, and then really started to take off at the beginning of next year. And to transition a little bit over from the macro markets more over to the meme markets, it's important to think about the Bitcoin dominance chart as well. And the meme market is the lowest end of the liquidity. You have Bitcoin as the largest, and you have Ethereum is the one that they typically chart. And then you have the meme or altcoin season. So what we're looking for is, yes, you're going to see positive movements in the meme coin market when Bitcoin starts to go up and when Ethereum starts to go up. But you really see the biggest movement in these markets when the Bitcoin dominance starts to go down. And what that means is that the liquidity is coming from Bitcoin. People are moving it into higher risk assets, pulling profit. And that is when that liquidity rush comes in, and you see these giant movements in the meme market that we're all waiting for and we're all in. And I was on a spaces and talking to some people before, and it's about their strategy for investing. And it's a little bit different when you're investing in a meme because of the returns that you get. It's sort of leveraged from Ethereum. If Ethereum goes up, let's say Bitcoin, for example, goes up 1x, Ethereum goes up 2x, your memes might go up 200 or 2000x. So sometimes you're in these plays that feel like they're really going nowhere. It's not happening. It's moving slow. But you have to remember that sometimes the moves on these plays happen so quickly in the market because it has such an effect on the lower market caps, that rush of liquidity, that if you don't have that one big day that you're in the market when it starts to take off, that can mean the difference of 50 or 100x. So you're sort of getting paid to wait for that longer time. I think when it comes for me with memes, and we could talk more about what's a good meme or a bad meme, you get paid for the time in the market. There's no exact TA on a lower market cap coin. And I consider almost all memes pretty much lower market caps that you can't do so much TA on. But you have to understand the general cycle. And if you stick it out and you're in good projects, when that liquidity rush comes, the numbers that it can generate and the X's that it can generate are absolutely mind boggling. So, although it's boring for some days, it's slow for other days, you have to remember you're not playing a 1 day game, you're playing the cycle, and you want to make sure you're there and you catch it when those big moves come.
Yeah, 100%. The other thing is too, you're talking about Bitcoin dominance. Something that's pretty interesting is as poorly as Bitcoin has performed the last week, Bitcoin dominance has gone up, right? So we're on the daily chart. So um, Bitcoin obviously the last week or two has just been, not performing well. We've seen a relatively large crash on the smaller medium time frame, but Bitcoin dominance continues to go up, right? And all that's saying is that even though Bitcoin isn't performing well, altcoins are even performing worse. And so, I really truly think that the Bitcoin dominance is going to continue to go up until we break that all-time high. And when we do break that all-time high, I think all of that volume is going to go to altcoins, and we're going to see that massive dump on Bitcoin dominance, which is just money flowing into altcoins and meme coins. So, but yeah, genuinely, I think the biggest, most important thing to do is like zoom out, look from a macro perspective. Like I said, if we go to the 30-minute chart, right? And let me take this off so you can see a little bit better. But if I show someone this chart, right, that's a scary chart, right? That's a very bearish, scary chart, strong downtrend, tons of liquidations. But this is the exact same chart as this one. This one's zoomed in more, right? And so this chart looks a lot more bullish from the daily time frame. From a macro perspective, there's no reason to be bearish yet, right? So again, we could make new lows, right? That's something as a trader that I'm prepared for. The market is very unpredictable, even for the most seasoned traders. But at the end of the day, I have a higher time frame conviction and a more macro view of where I believe Bitcoin is going. And none of this has invalidated that theory. So, am I ready and prepared if we do make new lows? Absolutely. But my gut feeling and my technical and fundamental analysis is telling me that we're going higher and probably pretty soon. I think we've seen the liquidations that we need to see for Bitcoin to move higher. And when Bitcoin does move higher and breaks that all-time high, that's when I believe we're going to see our meme coin bags start to pump and get that really euphoric meme coin season.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think good things are ahead, and that some of the things we've been waiting for, like that surge with the meme coins in the bull run, like the Ethereum ETF, the first step in any bull run is Bitcoin, regardless of its price, is establishing its dominance. And that's what it's doing right now. And it's going to continue to go up. Everything else is going to go sideways or not move as much. And then once it has its dominance and it starts to break out, then that cascading effect comes through. And ultimately, it ends up in the meme coin world where a lot of us are in, or a project that we're in. And that's where those huge returns start to come. And I think if you're looking to win the cycle, not win the day, you're going to be successful. If you're trying to win the day, it is a very unpredictable market, and that's very hard to do. So once you zoom out and you say, hey, I want to win this bull run cycle, that's where you really can have a much safer bet and do a lot better without being perfect. So keep that in mind on the daily basis. Speaking about memes, if we want to move over from the technical side of things, I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on how you pick memes, what you like about them, why are you trading memes in general, what are the ones that you like? I'd love to hear from everybody. I could throw over to you, Paul.
Yeah, on that,
Or
but
we
I
could
had a
not.
real quick first.
Mike's bugging a little bit, Paul. I think it's lagging.
Is that? Can you hear me? that.
You might have given your mic some Mictors. We could switch the screen up. Do you want to go? We can pull the faces up full and take the screen off for now. Storm screen. There we go. You sound like you are in a commercial for Marlboro and not one in the 70s.
Oh man. Oh.
Is that better? Hey, you
Yeah.
think that I
$1,000 worth of fucking equipment going on
There we go.
There we go.
All right, there we go. Yeah, before we get into memes, man, I would love to ask Storm a couple of questions. One, you referenced a 30-minute chart. What is that?
Yeah, so that's a great question, actually. So 30-minute chart, the way, when you see all these candles, right, they're basically sectioned off by time frames. So a 30-minute chart, all that means is each one of these candles, right, on this screen is a 30-minute time period. So you see this green candle that's forming right now with the dashed lines. It's right now, currently at my time, it's 8:30 p.m. So this candle just opened. It'll track price movement for the next 30 minutes, right? So if price goes up to 57K, you'll see this green line pull this candle up to 57K, and basically encapsulates price movement within a 30-minute period, right? So each one of these candles are basically 30-minute periods. A daily chart, right, very similarly, is the exact same concept where it's capturing price movement, but just within one daily time frame. So each one of these candles is a day, right? So the market closes, or a candle closes at 6 p.m. my time. Not sure, 6 p.m. MST. Not sure what that is UTC, but at 6 p.m. every day, I know that candle body is going to close. So at 6 p.m. today, price was at 57,457. A new candle opens, and it's just a way to track price movement. So candles can be a little bit confusing to some people, but this is just the candle is basically just capturing price movement in a certain amount of time. So when you go to a daily time frame, obviously this is a zoomed out view, right? Because just this little chop section right here is 3 months worth, right? Because this is a day, this is a day, this is a day. If you put these all together, takes you all the way back to the beginning of March, versus like a 30-minute time period, right? This little chop section right here, which looks to be about the same size, is only from like not even a week ago, because each one of these candles are 30 minutes. Hope that made sense. I know that might be a little confusing, but
yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but it's not too bad. It's crazy because when people are looking at these charts, right? I feel like when people get into crypto, they start to think of, man, I want to learn how to invest. I want to, you hear the word generational wealth get kicked around a lot. And, obviously that means a lot of things for a lot of different people. But in the case where what we're talking about here with trying to get generational wealth, specifically kind of like within this cycle, it really, I think that people have to understand the things that Storm is talking about right now is just so important to really understand that what we're going through is this is normal, right? And to say that if we're looking at crypto in a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month snapshot, even maybe 6 month snapshot, you think, man, I don't get it, right? Like if you think about how long this has been, I'm seeing people in crypto Twitter that are like, holy shit, I'm getting out. And, that could be some level of FUD or whatnot. But, man, I think it's important to know that, that this is normal, right? And those that are able to stay on, those are the ones that are going to, be able to buy the lows. And again, I think we said this last time, right? You make your money when you buy. You cash it in when you sell, but at the end of the day, you make your money when you buy, and now is the time to buy and really to look at your convictions and look at the teams that are running these different projects and understand, you're just like when you invest in a startup, you're investing in people more than you're actually investing in the meme itself. So if you're out there looking at what project to put money in,
take a step back and look at the people and what
Yeah.
other projects have they been involved in.
Yep.
And that would be certainly my recommendation.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, if that was confusing, right? Because again, as an investor, as someone who's not necessarily like trading the markets, it's not necessarily important to understand candlesticks. I mean, candlesticks are very basic, like understanding trading candles or candlesticks. That's like basic 101. But at the same time, you don't even need to really understand how a candlestick works to have understand the macro view of the market. And one thing I'd recommend too, if you don't want to see candlesticks, is just go to a line chart, right? So most people, if I showed them this chart and said it was Bitcoin, you could understand, right? This is just a line that's tracking price movement, right? It's the exact same thing as the candlesticks. It's just converted into a line graph, right? So the candlesticks it's just another way to track price movement. As a trader, it just gives me a little bit more info. The info that a candlestick gives you that a line chart wouldn't is like when a candle would open. If I'm looking at a daily chart, right, I can see when the day opened, where the price was, what the high of the day was, what the low of the day was, etc. But it's not super important to understand what a candlestick is. But I think the important thing as an investor is to just have an idea, right? Go to the line chart and have an idea of where we are in the general picture of things, right? You can see very clearly with or without trading knowledge that Bitcoin's obviously been doing very well from a macro standpoint from the beginning of November, which is where we started this bull run, right? And if you look at this chart, anyone with or without trading experience could tell you this looks pretty strong, right? We haven't seen a massive retracement yet, right? This right here is what everybody's been freaking out about, right? This little price action in this zone. This was the last 3 months. This is the zone, the area where meme coins have dropped 70 to 80%. And we've had, wide scale panic, but you zoom out and it's like, that doesn't look too bad. Right. And so to me, this is just an overcorrection of fear in the market. People getting, flooded from World War III news and other fundamental things that are just kind of scaring people out of their positions. But you just got to understand it's a long-term game. It's a 3 to 5 year cycle. And we're not even 2 years into that 3 to 5 year cycle yet. Right. We're pretty close to 2 years, but we might not even be halfway done. So.
Man, that's a great explanation, by the way. I guess my thing is, where do we go from here, Storm? Right, like this is a situation where I know a lot of people they're kind of struggling out there. They're like, man, these are great projects that I got into, and you saw it being bull posted and going up quickly, and then all of a sudden it starts to look like a house of cards when people are thinking, well, man, August is going to be rough. Wait till September. September is now going to be rough. Wait till Q4. And it seems like everyone's kind of saying Q4. I spoke to some folks a couple months ago and they were like, look, just kind of batten down the hatches and wait till September. Blood Storm, I ask you guys, folks that are out there watching this right now, what do you guys do to, ultimately for me in real estate, what I say is rule number one is don't run out of money. How do you guys make it so that you last the next month?
Yeah, that's a tough thing too, because that's a very situational question. A lot of people bought up here in the cycle, right? They bought at the top of the cycle when euphoria was at its highest. Everybody thought Bitcoin was going to break out of its all-time high right after the halving, go straight up to 200K. And maybe they invested their entire portfolio into meme coins. And if that's you, what I would say is, okay, you weathered the storm. Now you just got to wait, right? Wait the storm out. You have no money to invest, right? No, not any more money to invest. So it's more so just a waiting game. People who are just now coming into the market, or maybe you are someone who put a little bit in at the top and then have watched your portfolio kind of drag down and leak, and you're still waiting with some extra cash and you're thinking about, should I get in? Should I get out? What I would do as an investor, and we were talking about this not too long ago, Paul, the best time to buy real estate, because you're a real estate guy, is in a recession, right? This zone right here is like a macro Bitcoin recession in a sense, right? We've seen some of the largest wide scale liquidations ever in the cryptocurrency and the stock market, and we're seeing, like I said, the fear and greed index is at 26. That's extreme fear, right? So people are fearful. The market's getting liquidated. The price keeps going down. This is a Bitcoin recession, right? So for me, right, everyone kind of knows, yeah, of course, a recession isn't great. A lot of people lose money. The markets are tanking, but it's buying assets at a cheaper price. And if you're looking at some of the top meme coin assets in the space, some of those are down 70 to 80% discounted, right? So if you had conviction, if you ever believed or currently believe that meme coins have a future in this cryptocurrency market, there's no better time and no better opportunity than to buy meme coins when they're down 70 to 80%. So if you have extra cash, what I would say is, buy it when it's low. If you bought it when it was up, 4 or 5 times what it is now, and you have extra cash, this is an opportunity to get it lower. So yeah, that's the advice I would give newer and people who have been in the market, I guess, for the last 3 months.
I think that's great advice. And I love how you reference that as kind of like a mini Bitcoin recession. Because one of the things is recessions aren't bad, right? As things become very successful and people become successful, they start to become very liberal with their money, and maybe they start to invest in things or create businesses or opportunities that maybe that they shouldn't have created, right? Not every coin, maybe not every business should be created. Not every property should be bought. And so this quote unquote Bitcoin recession, or what's happening right now kind of within the real estate world, is that, kind of opportunity where people are getting slapped on the wrist for making some poor decisions.
Yeah, yeah. You know what analogy that always comes to mind for me is forest fires, right? So you look at like places like the Everglades, or just nature in general, right? Forest fires are very important for the ecosystem. You get that fire that burns everything down. It clears the forest. It clears all the weeds and the bad things that have been cultivated over, like you said, over a year or two. But it's very good, you know, for the environment, because it burns everything down, it resets it, and then that's when you plant the seeds of your investments, and then it blooms, right? So for me, this is like the forest fire. The last 3 months have been a forest fire. Tons of people are extremely down on their portfolio. Have been getting wrecked the last 3 months, but obviously, like I said, if plant those seeds now, when everything's burned down, and you'll be one of the first to bloom when the bull season kind of continues and catches up, and people start coming back into the market, and stuff starts to look a little bit greener. That you should be planting the seeds now, right? You don't want to wait get that movement back into the chart or back into the cryptocurrency world. You want to kind of plant the seeds early before any of that happens.
I got something to add in when you guys were talking about the forest fire theory. It may be technically a dumpster fire crypto right now, but same. It's burning the stuff away. You're watching a record number of crypto projects being launched on a daily basis. Projects that are at an insanely high rate getting rugged or going close to zero, or going to a fundamentally unsound place quicker than it's ever happened before. And when you talk about the forest fire clearing the weeds, I would sort of compare bad projects that are there to extract liquidity and value and not really build as the weeds. And
Yep.
what's happening right now is in the same way as you were saying, Paul, with the recession, where businesses that shouldn't be around are sort of weeded out and it's a contraction of the economy. I think that it's actually going to be very healthy to see a contraction where a large number, a vast majority of projects are burned out, are weeded out because they're not there to do things correctly. They're not going to add any value or give people an opportunity to actually make money. And that contraction, that weeding out, that forest fire of these memes that's happening right now, it's doing two things. One, it's actually educating the consumer because people no longer are just aping into fresh pairs because they know it's probably going to go to zero within 24 hours. They might as well wait to see what happens after the dev dumps all their money. So you're educating the consumer to be less easy to fool and less easy to take their money, which is obviously a good thing. And then secondly, most of these projects are just disappearing. What that's going to allow us to do is hopefully have less dilution in the liquidity, have less things spread out so thin. and allow projects to actually flourish by focusing the liquidity on the better projects. And that's going to be done by these bad projects getting weeded out, getting burnt out. And it's also going to be done by the education through fire, literally, no pun intended, that the consumer has had over the last few months with the way that the meme market is going. So I see this contraction as a place where if you survive, if your project and your portfolio survives through these times, you're going to have a completely different market that's going to be popping up when the liquidity returns. And I think a more educated and stronger, more focused market, consumer, and liquidity pool is going to be coming around the corner. And if we didn't have this sort of calling, this forest fire to remove the weeds, it would hurt the market when it gets there. And ultimately, this is going to be seen as a healthy burning rather than everything good burning.
Yeah, I mean, that analogy is so good, and you made it twice as good with the whole weed part. But yeah, that's exactly right. You know, the forest fires are good because the weeds get overgrown, the plants get overgrown, and you need to kind of reset that. And that's exactly what it's felt like the last couple months in the cryptocurrency market. It's felt like in crypto we've had so many like things like pump funds and like these easy launch tokens that have really saturated the market, taken a lot of liquidity, and 99% of them are not good projects, right? They're not well run. A lot of them are just rugs. They're, quick, easy money. People dump them very quickly. They're not quality projects. And so this last 3 months has been like that fire to basically wipe out all of that liquidity and put people back onto the main blockchains, which to me are Base, ETH, and Solana. And I guess that's might be a good little transition into what the next topic you guys were wanting to talk about, which is blockchains themselves and what differentiates blockchains, which ones are your favorite, et cetera. But yeah, I think what's happening right now is we're going to see a clearing of that quick money because it did feel like the market was so oversaturated the last couple months with just kind of pump and dump projects in those Solana pump funds and all those kind of like really quick fast food type plays.
So Storm, real quick, for a newbie like myself, learning all this, even though I'm the DJ, like where would be a good place to start for someone wanting to dive into this world? Because you got blockchains, you got coins, you have, all the different levels. So like for a newbie such as myself diving into this world, where would be a good place to start?
So, the first thing I would recommend for newbies getting into crypto is be an investor and not a trader, right? Trading is, that's where I have my background the last 5 years. But it took so long for me. Trading, the general rule of thumb is 99% of traders. I think it's 95, but it's probably closer to the 99% of people that trade, retail traders, lose money. And what trading is those quick scalp plays, right? Traders are going down on the 30-minute chart, right? And they're trying to make quick in and out plays. They're using like really in-depth technical analysis. And it's kind of short time frame trading, right? You're not holding an asset long term. You are just trying to read the market and make little quick in and out plays. And to me, like meme coin trading on like pump fund and trying to buy those like 50, 60K market cap projects that you hope go to 10 million, that's trading, right? That's like getting in and out. It's not really investing. You're not really believing in the long-term vision of that project. You're just trying to make a quick flip, right? So the first big set of advice I'd give to newbie traders is find great projects that you believe in, that you have long-term conviction in, put your money in it and hold it there, right? Regardless of what we have this, 50% chop in your bag's down 30%, 20%. That's all normal in the meme coin market. But investing is having a much long-term vision on your asset. And so that's rule number one for me was like, don't try to get into the whole quick flip trading mindset. Look at the market, look at these meme coins as assets. The second big thing I would recommend is diversify your portfolio, right? Don't go 100% into a pump fund meme, right? Put some of your money into a really safe cryptocurrency project, maybe Bitcoin, right? You have 30% of your portfolio into Bitcoin. That's your safe, kind of slow mover. Obviously, Bitcoin's not going to rug overnight. I guess it could, but that would be pretty surprising, pretty unlikely. But have a decent amount of money in a really safe, slow moving asset. And then kind of diversify as you move down. So maybe you put another 20% in a high cap altcoin. So maybe it's Solana, maybe it's XRP, etc. And then take 15 to 30% of your portfolio and put it into high risk plays, because that's the beautiful thing about the cryptocurrency market is it has a very unique side of it where you can turn a couple $1,000s into $1 million, right? You can hit that jackpot if you're early enough and you're lucky enough, if you do put your money into the right meme coin asset early, but you don't want to go all in on a meme coin asset. I see so many people that get really excited to get into the meme coin market, and they buy into, the hype of this project or that project. And it's not even that they're bad projects, but as a trader, the markets are very unpredictable, right? Regardless of how strong an asset might be right now, the markets can do whatever they want to do. And so if you put all your chips into one basket, it's just a recipe for disaster. So make sure you're diversifying your portfolio from high risk down to low risk. And then also make sure you're investing in projects or buying projects that you have long-term interest in, not quick flips.
I want to add in a question someone might ask, and it's great advice what you gave. The higher market cap, lower risk coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, I think those are pretty easy to find, pretty easy to understand. But when you go over to meme coins, a question someone might have, and Buck might have, is what is conviction? What is a good coin? How do I find something that could give future value? So we can go back to that example that we were talking about with the weeds. You want to look for things that continue to do the things that they were doing before the bad, during the bad, and then after. You want to see consistency with the content that they're putting out. You want to see consistency with the messaging that they're putting out. A meme coin, at the end of the day, is a transfer of value from one person to another. There's not really, some have, but really there's not a utility. So it's a surrounding, what it's surrounding is a community. It's sort of like the fire that people would gather around. It's the art pieces that told about the culture. And if the community and that culture is not strong, it's very hard to say this is a good meme coin. So what you're looking for is a certain culture that is represented or created by the meme coin. You have, like, let's say the market memes. Those are cultures from traders. So it makes sense what they're doing. You want to make sure that the community around it is using those memes, is creating art, and is keeping that narrative and culture alive. That is a very important thing. You want to see consistent output by the team. You want to make sure the people who are leading a project are thoughtful, have a plan, and are doing things differently every day in terms of they're putting out new content, they're focusing on growing their community, they're an open book for questions. You don't want to have any questionable things happen where people can't get answers from the leadership or you never hear from them. That's a really good way to help find a good meme project. And when you see that consistent messaging, you see high quality output, you see leaders that you can reach, that could be a good place for you to go. And as well, you can look for things that are familiar in your own life. If you have memes, cultures, or things that you like, and you see that in the meme coin world, hey, if you like it, you should go for it. And as long as those other things line up, I strongly encourage people to invest in projects that they actually like the meme.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I guess that's a, good kind of way to get into the next topic, which was the whole blockchain differences, because that's a question I get a lot too is, now there's just so many new blockchains, whether it's Base, Tron, Ton, etc. And so now, and they all have their very distinct differences. So I guess for someone asking, like, what are the differences to you, Manny, or Blood? Sorry. And I guess what do you prefer? What are your favorite chains and why? What are your top 2 chains? Where are you putting them? Which chains?
Did we just pretend that Blood's fake real name is Manny and it's probably really Chris?
Well, it's weird because this is actually me. That is my legal name, and I use Manny as an alias. So
I knew it.
It's a confusing world.
I was wondering when he's gonna get into those.
Oh.
Oh Lord.
That sounded like his background in Chicago.
All right, guys.
Sorry.
It gave me a little bit of time to gather my thoughts. Realize there's nothing inside my head for me to use for these next few sentences, but I'll make it up anyways. For me, what I traded on, there's a couple of things. Primarily, I trade on Ethereum. I like that it moves slowly. I'm pretty busy. Um, I've traded a lot on Solana before, and I just don't have the time to constantly check the charts. Solana can have 16 bull run cycles in the course of 24 hours. I don't have the time to always be watching and trading. And not that I don't get into good trades, it's that I don't get out of them in time. I've had a pump fund here and there overnight. I fall asleep, it hits radium, boom, $400 turns into 45 cents, and then you can't even trade it out. So I just don't like things that move that fast. But there are some really good plays on Solana. When it comes to Ethereum, I think it moves slower. I really do enjoy that part, and I think that there's a lot of very wealthy investors on there, and when they get into a project, it's more long term, and that's how I like to look at things more from the investing side. Recently, I've had from obviously from Blood Boy, we're on Ethereum, and I do like that a lot. But as a personal investor, as Manny, my alias, I've played around on Tron. I've actually never done anything on Ton. And one thing you guys have to remember is that if you migrate your funds over to another blockchain, there's cost, there's time, and you have to have other wallets, new things to manage. So there are good projects on these different blockchains. Oftentimes there's microcycles where one blockchain goes a little bit up, like Tron has had its moment. But don't forget to remember, what are the fees, what are the times, what are the liquidity on the chain, and then think like, am I spreading myself too thin? Do I have to manage a lot of wallets, a lot of chains, a lot of new resources to be safe on these trades? Is it worth it, or should I keep my focus more narrow? Crypto is always a very exciting place. There's always a million things going on. And I think it's important that instead of chasing every car that drives by and every shiny object, that you utilize your time to the best of your ability and don't spread yourself too thin. I think that's important.
Right, right, and it's also kind of the same concept of I see chains like Solana or Tron, and you see a lot of like Tron and Ton seem to be kind of like the new hype type chains. But those are kind of for me, those are very high risk assets, right? Buying a 30K pump fund token, that's about as high risk as you can get in any asset class. But those also have potentially the most potential in terms of percent return. So I look at Solana and some of these other chains as not bad chains, but very quick. Like it's more the trader mindset. Like they're very quick flips, or they're very high risk, high reward assets. So just make sure you don't take all your whole portfolio and dump them into one like Solana chain or base chain. Make sure you play around. Use maybe ETH chain memes as maybe a little bit less risk asset, because like Blood said, they do tend to move a little bit slower, have a little bit less of a dumpy feel, right? So yeah, I would use kind of the chains very similarly as I would use like different asset classes in terms of risk.
Yeah, you can break it down in the meme world and through the blockchain. But just remember that just because you have 15 or 20 or 50 different coins that you're now investing in doesn't mean that you have a higher chance of success. So don't spread your liquidity, don't spread your focus, and don't spread your time too thin, because you up your risk every time you add another coin to your portfolio, especially in the meme coin world. And an interesting thing in the meme coin world is you can actually affect your wealth through the engagement in your community. And if you have less communities that you're engaged in, you are able to engage better in the ones that you're in. You're able to know and learn more about the team, the leadership, and what they're doing. And you're actually able to give your time, whether it's rating or posting or whatever it might be, to educate, to network, and to help grow your own personal wealth through your engagement in the community, which is a pretty cool thing. But if you're in 100 coins a day, I think you're really upping your risk constantly. And I would say it probably does not equal a better return. I would rather move a little slower, know the people better, and make less trades but higher quality.
Yeah, and I think you're right. So if you're as you see a coin go up, a lot of times, or a project go up, people will try to take profits and then try to catch lightning in a bottle twice, right? And because they're thinking the lower the market cap, the higher potential leverage, right? So if you get into something at a 10,000 market cap, all of a sudden, if it goes to 100,000, that's a 10x. If it goes to a million, that's a 100x, right? And so I think a lot of times people are kind of chasing that. And I do think that seems to be kind of the problem a lot of times with traders. Like they're always kind of chasing that next thing versus really having some conviction with, maybe 2 to 5 projects that you really want to be a part of. And Manny, while you were talking, I was thinking, if you were kind of that next level kind of holder in crypto, right? You've kind of started to do your research, you've bought Bitcoin, you've bought Ethereum, and now you're like, you know what? I want to start getting involved in a community. Maybe there's a meme that you identify with, you've been following people on X or Twitter, and you're like, you know what? These seem to be good people. I'm ready to take that next step and become a raider, become part of the community. What do if somebody wanted to become a member in blood, what would you suggest?
First of all, tip me. I think that we should start every community member off by a generous tip to me. No, I'm kidding. In reality, on an all serious note, I love the production going through. I think the quicker that you separate out the idea of market cap to community participation, the quicker things are going well. When the community no longer, obviously, we're here to make money. I'm not in like the kumbaya business in any way. But the quicker that people start building an actual community where they enjoy being there, where they want to participate, they like the people around, they like the culture, they like the environment. A meme coin is a culture. They like the art, they like the narrative. That's a good place to be if you want to participate in a community, because you're going to be there a lot. The community is going to want you to be posting, rating, engaging on the socials. Sometimes you see community members go into spaces and represent the project all on their own. It needs to be something that you're passionate about and that you love and that you relate to and that you trust. You want to make sure that you're in a project where you trust what the team is doing. You can get straight answers, they're transparent, and of course, make sure that they're working harder than you. If you're working harder than the people telling you to work, that's a problem. But overall, just have fun and go to places that you relate to. That's the beauty of this meme coin world, is we can find communities that we relate to, we love, and that are something that touches something inside of us in a good way. That's for me as both a project leader and on how I look at it as an investor. What about you, Paul? And why haven't you been rating so much? Let's get into the nitty gritty over here. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm over here selling real estate and putting podcasts together. I'm trying to bring it to a different level, and really find where my time is best used. And apparently, it's not trying to figure out how to get Storm's fucking his screen share on Restream. I'll tell you that much, man. I'm looking around the room like, somebody fucking help me out here because it's not going well. I'm like, throw me a lifeline. Okay. All right. My dude's got 2 sound effects. Come on, Buck. You know what I mean? You're better than that. Dude, you know what? Like, I think for me, it's in the couple different projects that I've really kind of been a part of. It's not just about, the team and everything else. That's important, but also does it stand for something? I've been working with a project called, the Babies Club. And this is basically being able to tell the story before the Boys Club, which is a Matt Fury project with Pepe, Wolf, Brett, Bird Dog, Andy. And one of the things that we've done that I've really enjoyed is we've created basically the Babies Raising Babies initiative, where we've actually now donated $3,500 to charities around the world, to help underprivileged kids. So we've donated to a orphanage in Phuket. We donated to a nonprofit in Austin that's literally helping homeless youth in Austin. And there's now making a case study based on this nonprofit to be able to take what they're doing and duplicate that in other cities, because they're actually doing it. They know how many homeless youth we have in Austin, and they actually have enough beds for all of them. And like, that's the real shit at the end of the day, right? Like, we all come to community for something, but at what point are we trying to give back and try to kind of appeal to a higher thing than just pump and dump?
I love that you put that, and Babies is a great project, by the way. I love that you put that about community after you spoke about giving. And it's really important. The sense of community is a group of people supporting each other and lifting each other up and lifting others up. And a good community is a place where you feel uplifted, a place where you feel your contributions are lifting others up. And like Paul was saying, a place where you're making a difference. That's a really good thing. And that separation from, oh, it's just a transfer of dollars from one to another, to having meaning, community, building others, building prosperity, building opportunities. That's where meme coins actually become a meme coin and not just that transfer of wealth. And the further you have that separation of just dollars going back and forth, the more successful ultimately the dollars that go back and forth, I think, are going to be. And it needs to have meaning. And that's great what you guys are doing with Babies. And to be
Speaking
clear,
of-
Blood Boy fully supports Babies being healthy. I just want to put that out there in case there was any controversies about that, where we just want to clarify that stance. We are pro Babies.
Real quick though, speaking of communities, my girl wanted to know how many, for a newbie, what's the max number of communities someone should get involved with when it comes to the coins and things of that nature?
So I thought your girl was going to ask a question about Babies, and that is something I am 100% not qualified to answer that question in your relationship. That was for you, Paul.
Appreciate
it just depends. I mean, if you're in 10 communities, you're not really going to be able to do much for any of them. You could be in a bunch of ones. I mean, I can't tell you how many Telegram groups I'm in. I literally can't tell you. But I only really participate in Blood Boy and, come in and out of a few here and there. You have a certain amount of time in your day that you can participate, get to know people, get to understand the culture, and actually add a value that's meaningful. Everything does count. But in reality, if you just send 2 messages, a week or 2 messages a day, it doesn't do so much. But if you're an active community member, and you don't have that many, maybe 1, 2, 3, I don't know, it's different for everybody and their work schedule. I think you can make a meaningful impact, and it's going to be more enjoyable for you as a person as well than just running around to a bunch of Telegram groups saying good morning and, clicking on a tweet.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, I would recommend not spreading yourself too thin as well, because one of the most strategic things you can do in this space is join the right community, right? Be around the right people, get in with the right people. That's the reason I'm here, actually. That's the reason I that's how I met Blood Boy. That's how I met Paul. That's how I met Buck. It was all through this space. I don't know these guys in real life, but they're really cool people. And I was able to meet them through this space. And because of that, the relationships that I've fostered, I've been, you get alpha early, you get on a really cool podcast like this one, live stream. So you make a lot of connections, you get, alpha and information through those communities that you join. The hard part is figuring out which ones are the right ones. And the only way you do that is being active in the community. And if you spread yourself out too thin, like Blood said, I'm in, I don't know how many Telegrams and alpha chats and, but there's only a small group of ones I'm active in. I check that I buy plays off of and I talk in. And that's because those are the ones that I've kind of singled out as the ones that are most valuable to me. And so it's really important not only to be a part of communities, but pick the right ones.
Yeah, because that time that you spend with the people gives you the idea of who is good and who is bad. And you're going to have obviously a worse judgment if you don't spend as much time with those individuals in that community.
I will tell you what, though, this thing that we call, crypto Twitter and kind of these communities that we kind of get like engulfed in. Um, One, it's something that the relationships that you make there's some people that I consider to be very, very good friends that I talk to on the regular. But the other part of it too is to just protect your time, because this is something that can burn you out, and it's something that can be just so, like it's the dopamine hit of it, and just the excitement of like, oh, I just made 100x, because that definitely does happen. And at the same time, it's like you get so engrossed in it, and all of a sudden you look up and you're like, holy shit, 8 hours of my day just went by. And I find myself literally just clicking through my Telegram of like every project that I'm in. And you're like, okay, dude, you got to sell some real estate. So it is something that is, it's been great. It's super positive, but it's also can be, kind of like mildly addictive, because
Yeah.
you're just watching things go up.
That's actually such a great point, and that's something I could relate back to my last point about being more of an investor than a trader. You're totally right. Like being involved in like a ton of different communities and spending 6-7 hours a day on Telegram is great when price is moving up, but inevitably those prices are going to come back down. You're going to see retracements. You're going to see choppiness in the market, like we've experienced the last couple months. And when that happens, it's, like you said, it's you get that dopamine push when stuff's doing well. But if you are spending 6-7 hours a day on Twitter the last couple months, it's probably pretty depressing. And you'll see people burn out, sell their bags. That's kind of what's happening right now, right? It's the market's been really rough the last couple months, and we kind of see who has the energy levels to keep going and stay in the market when it's choppy, because this is when the best opportunities are. But if you're looking at the markets like with the trading mentality of getting in and out of plays, you're checking, let's say you bought 10 different plays and you're just on your phone checking trading view 4 hours a day. Every 15 minutes you're checking what the price is at, and it's obsessive. And it's the same thing as gambling. If you're going to burn out, it's going to affect your psychology. Buy something good, hold it long term, put the phone away, be active in the telegrams and chats when you can. But burning yourself out is not something. It's very easy to do in this space, and it's something you want to avoid. And the best way to do that is have that investment mindset. Buy it, sit on it, walk away from it when you need to. But don't be sitting on your phone with 10 different charts open. Every 15 minutes you're checking every little micro move. You're going to get burned out.
Yeah, it's a great point what you guys are talking about with how you use your time, your mental health, lowering your risk. And I think if you surround yourself with the right projects, you can't really change the crypto market. Like there's nothing that I could do that would make Blood Boy go to $100 million tomorrow, for example. But what good projects are doing is they're building tools, they're building revenue streams, they're building engagement tools, they're building community, culture, they're building art. And if you're not a short-term project, every dollar is looked at every minute. What candle? Where are we at? Are we up? Are we down? Because it's a very narrow time frame. But I think good projects are looking on a wider time frame, and it can be healthier to engage and be a part of, because it's not that they're not growing. It's not that they don't want to go up. It's that they're doing things that aren't on a gambler's addictive time frame. They're building things that are interesting, fun, beautiful, exciting, that you want to participate in, but it doesn't have to be, oh, in the next 5 minutes, something happens. They're looking at the whole cycle. And if you're in projects where they're looking at the whole cycle, you can meet amazing people like I've met you guys and others. You can learn things, you can build things together, and you can actually have that opportunity to really make wealth that doesn't mean in the next 5 minutes something has to happen. You can actually participate and enjoy. I think that's important that you're in the wider time frame projects. And I speak to a lot of project leaders, and it's some really amazing and interesting things that are being built now, even though the market is so down. And that's fun, that's exciting. But then you go to these like coins that last 2.5 days, and every single message, every single thing can mean the difference of, is it going to exist tomorrow? And I think those are unhealthy places to put your time.
Yeah. It drains you. It drains your energy, when you're in the wrong communities, and it totally drains your energy. But you can, if you're in the right communities, meet really cool people, That's how I met you guys. I see Amina's in the chat. I saw Kaz, Sis, right? There's so many cool people I've met in this space. But yeah, it's just, you got to be really selective about the communities that you are a part of.
I've heard people say, they don't buy projects, they buy bottom charts. What is that? I feel like that's probably a storm question a little bit. But what does that mean exactly? And how can you tell if a chart's bottomed?
That is extremely hard, and at the end of the day, I'll give you a very honest answer. No one knows 100% if a chart is bottomed, right? The one piece of advice I could give you is if a chart's bottomed, it's probably retraced in price. So, what you want to be looking for is a strong, healthy meme coin and community that may be priced. So, we'll use Blood Boy as an example because I think this is a great example. It's a strong community. It's run by Blood Boy. We know Blood Boy's a great CEO of the project. It's got one of my favorite communities on all of crypto Twitter. And, the price is down maybe 70% or so. That for me, that's a bottom chart, only because I know if the market recovers, it's going to go higher. Could the price go lower? Sure. And not many people have control over that, right? Bitcoin could continue to dump for the next 2 months before it starts to recover. No one truly knows with 100% certainty. And I also think you shouldn't be obsessed with just buying, the absolute bottom, and like, look at it more from like hey, price has gone down. But this project, Blood Boy has hit 3 million market cap, but it's down to 500K, but it's a great project. It's a long-term project, great community. That's a bottom chart to me, right? There's nothing, if you obsess over buying like the very bottom of the chart, it's never going to happen that way, right? You just want to more so look at from like a more macro perspective, I would say.
Yeah, somebody told me in real estate once, basically like if you were ever to just kind of like draw a line kind of like this and like this, the second when you try to say like, hey, tell me when you think that it's topped and or bottomed, typically it's already going back down or going back up, right? Yeah. So a lot of times people time things by accident. They just happen to trade or buy real estate at the right time where they happen to time the bottom. A lot of times we don't know we're in the bottom until a few months after the fact, specifically in real estate, because those numbers come a little bit later than in the Bitcoin world.
Yeah. I mean, I guess a good piece of advice that kind of reminded me is, as a trader, one of the first things you learn, right, when you get into this space is 95+% of retail traders lose money in this market, right? So think about that, right? Whatever the general consensus of the market is, you should probably do the opposite. And that's why I bring up that fear and greed index every week, because it's like when the market's super fearful and everyone's scared, everyone on Twitter thinks the price of Bitcoin is going to tank to 30K. That's when it's probably going to go up, right? Markets, the fear and greed index is really interesting to me because if you think about it, euphoria and greed is always going to be the highest at the very tip top. And at the very bottom of a chart, it's, fear and FUD is going to be the strongest, right? So the stronger fear gets, the stronger people are FUDding you out of your bags, the more likely the bottom of a movement is in. And on the flip side of that, if people are super euphoric and throwing out crazy moon boy numbers, like Bitcoin's going to 1 million in 2 months, is top might be in, right? So what I do, I use sentiment to counter trade, right? So when I know as a trader that the market's getting super bearish and, super scared, especially when, you look at the macro picture and it's very unrealistic. Like, why would people be so bearish on Bitcoin after all the bullish news of ETFs and the political side of cryptocurrency this bull run? And also how many liquidations we've seen to the downside. And then also just the fact we're down, 25% on Bitcoin, but people are acting like it's the end of the world. Like they've lost, their entire portfolio. That's unrealistic FUD. And to me, that's a very strong signal that the market's very close or has bottomed already. Because like I said, there's so much fear in the market. So what I would say is, honestly, don't listen to anybody. Don't listen to what most people tell you to do, to be honest with you.
Well, except for Warren Buffett.
Except for
Buffett blood.
Yeah, Warren Buffett. Actually, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but this just in, Warren Buffett just advised everybody to buy blood. And by the way, this is not financial advice from anybody as up here, but Warren Buffett. He said it. It wasn't us. No, but Warren Buffett did say. Damn, man, he got reach. We think that's his name at least. I'll cheers to Michter's, by the way. I'm gonna take a drink on that.
Look, I got some Armagnac, and you're probably
Yeah.
going to say his Armagnac's probably Michter's, but you know,
How come I
it's
didn't get
okay.
the memo that we're all drinking on here? I didn't prepare my drink.
We are now after our second day
Hold
of
on.
technical difficulties.
After
No,
the
but
second mic, you pour a drink.
famous things. One of the things that there he is.
Out the bottle.
Oh,
No cup for me,
hey,
so let me take a sip.
salute. Hey, by the way, I'm gonna have Michter send us all a bottle, so that way there
We'll
we
have
can all be
to. We
sponsored.
should pick a barrel for the show. That'd be cool. We'll do the crypto takeover barrel.
And we can maybe brand it with like a blood brand.
Yeah, I could see that working out well.
So, anyways, I think like Warren Buffett says, right? When everybody's running towards it, it's time to run away. When everybody's running away from it, it's time to run towards it.
Yep.
I think right now you see a lot of people running away, and so if we're going to quote Uncle Warren, it's the time to run towards it. Yeah. And Storm, you said a bar, dude. You were like, you don't trade charts, you trade sentiment.
Yep.
What a great thing to say. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah. And that's just one. That's how I fundamentally trade. It's funny because fundamental trading is using news events to trade the charts, right? And I typically counter trade news events, and the Bitcoin halving is a great example of counter trading a sentiment because, what I always tell people is if trading was and investing was as easy as waiting for some bullish news to come out, buying a big bag of something and waiting for it to go up, trading would be very easy, but it's not. And we've had so much bullish news overall this cycle, whether it was the ETFs and, like I said, I don't think people understand how bullish it is that now cryptocurrency is becoming a major political hot button topic because, that's bringing so much attention to it. And then also you talk about like the long-term use case of Bitcoin. It's always been to, I guess, replace traditional finance and, be that next big transition into currency of our world. But it's like when you hear something like the halving, of course, we're going to get that chop after every cycle because everyone knows on paper, Bitcoin halving should mean price is going to go up. It's a bullish news event, right? But that's not what's going to happen. The market has to wreck people. The people that get in early and think that it's that easy, it's got to retrace a little bit. It's got to, chop a little bit and stop people out before we can get that move up that we deserve. And so that's all this last 3 months has been, is it's just been, chopping. So that's why I use fundamental analysis so much, is because I know that vast majority of people that put money into this market come out on the wrong side, right?
Storm, real quick.
Yeah.
What is the Bitcoin halving?
So the Bitcoin halving it's all tied to Bitcoin miners. Basically, you could get very technical with this explanation, but the very easy explanation is that the blockchain basically has to be mined by computers, right? And the people who mine Bitcoin, basically proof of stake on the blockchain, get paid Bitcoin to do that. And it's basically cutting that supply that's being given back to the miners in half. So it's basically technically shortening the supply because less and less Bitcoin is being mined or put into circulation. So it was written into the code of Bitcoin. Again, this can get very technical. I'm also not, I'm not the best coder or whatever. I understand the basics, but all you need to know is that basically each halving, the amount of Bitcoin that's released into circulation gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you think about that from like a finance perspective, the supply is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So so basically less supply, price should go up, because there's still the same demand, but supply is shortening. So technically price should go up. But yeah, again, you could get really technical with blockchain stuff and how all that works, but very simply, the supply is getting cut in half. So
I think it's the rewards, like how much, not to correct because I don't know much, but I think the rewards that the miners get are cut in half. So it's a deflationary tool.
So it's basically the supply getting put onto the market. So like I said, when Bitcoiners mine
Yeah.
Bitcoin, they verify transactions, they get paid Bitcoin. They mine the Bitcoin, as in the Bitcoin gets paid out to them for verifying those transactions. Let's say, 10 years ago, every time you verified a transaction, you get 0.01 Bitcoin, just throwing out numbers, right? When the Bitcoin halving happens, that next after now, when you verify a transaction, you get 0.005 per transaction. So it's just you're lessening the supply that's being mined or given, like Blood said, as a reward system. But it does shrink the supply. There's a finite value. I can't. What is it? 35,000 or something like that. That can ever.
Less, like 21 million or something, isn't it?
Oh yeah, numbers way off. Maybe. Oh yeah, maybe. Sorry, thinking of Bitcoin price at the halving. But basically, it's just shortening the amount that's given out. Less and less are entering the market, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and that's economics 101 is supply and demand, right? And so when we're talking about if there's more buyers than there are sellers, that's going to create upward price pressure. If there's more sellers than there are buyers, that's going to create downward price pressure. That happens in all economics, basically, and that's the same thing that we're dealing with here, right? So with the Bitcoin happening, every time a Bitcoin miner basically verifies that transaction, instead of them hypothetically getting 1 Bitcoin, maybe now they're going to get a half, and the next one they're going to get a quarter, in 0.125 or whatnot. Look at me doing math over here, crushing it. I'm the real estate guy. I'm the comedian. Buck is the smart guy over here, by the way. So
yeah, and Blood, thank you for clarifying too, because that was a good point. I say that the supply is decreasing, but obviously that's supply coming onto the market, and that's something that's really important to understand. That you clarified, because there is a finite supply of Bitcoin that can ever be mined, right? And that supply is that's putting onto the market through Bitcoins is being mined at a slower and slower rate. But that's what makes Bitcoin the greatest deflationary asset of all time, is there is a set amount of Bitcoin that can ever be mined, right? And so as good as gold is as a deflationary asset, gold is technically always produced by the earth, and who knows how much gold exists on this earth. Whereas like Bitcoin, there's a finite supply, and Bitcoin will never, no more Bitcoin will ever be created after that final supply. So you're not actually creating Bitcoin when you're mining Bitcoin. You're just it's being released onto the blockchain, if that makes sense.
So everything sounds good when people say halvening. We're using easy numbers. For me, anything beyond dividing things in half, I wasn't great at doing in school. But what we just did hit is the hash rate, which is the rate that they compute Bitcoin. And that actually hit a record. So it'll be interesting to see how technology and the speed that they mine Bitcoin works with this happening and the deflationary side of it. But at the end of the day, even if they mined all of them tomorrow, there's still only 21 million. So that's something to keep in mind, that even if there's a double the amount of Bitcoin being mined, there's not even enough Bitcoin for every millionaire to have 1 Bitcoin, which is a crazy thought. But Bitcoin's boring. Let's go back to memes. Let's go back to exciting and risky. Yeah. Let's go back to exciting stuff.
So, we talked about what Blood and myself are buying out there, kind of Project Storm. What are some projects that you like?
Yeah, I've been pretty vocal about my favorite projects long term. Blood Boy is one of those projects. Obviously, that's kind of how we connected originally. But I'm mainly my biggest conviction is in Pepe and Pepe-verse tokens. I was a very early investor in Pepe. Like very early, as in like sub million market cap. Bought and sold a ton of times. Hey, I'll tell you right now, if I had bought and held this whole time, I might not be here. I might be on an island somewhere. And
wow.
That's
I get a sound effect, Buck.
Hey guys, I'm too rich for you. I got all this Pepe.
Yeah, this is a preview of what happens when Storms makes it.
Emphasis on the wish. I wish I'd held it this whole time. I do hold it now too. That's a large percentage of my portfolio. It's kind of my safe risk asset. It's the safest meme coin asset I think you can hold right now. But yeah, so it's Pepe. I think just the people involved in Pepe, the meme and the narrative behind it, the community is so strong. You have tons of people in there with like real influence and money in it that are pushing the coin. And I could do a whole stream on why I think Pepe is so strong and the back history behind it. But Pepe to me that's the king coin, this meme coin cycle. It's basically the Doge of the 2024 cycle, in my opinion. And so that's kind of like the low risk meme coin asset that I hold. Underneath that, I kind of have similar narrative assets, but quote unquote derivative, right? So kind of how we talked about last time of leveraged fractals. I think there are coins that are tied to very similar narratives, that have similar price movements, but will have probably higher return ratios with similar risk, honestly. And those are the Pepe versus 4chan tokens, like the market memes. So Bobo, Dodo. I don't hold Snibu or Mumu. I just know and the communities of Dodo and Bobo a lot better and have been in very, very early to those plays as well. But those are kind of my basket of memes right now. There are a couple other ones that I do have money in that I think will do really good.
Are you part of like Andy or Wolf or Brett?
No, no, not necessarily. I think those are going to be great projects. It's not necessarily that I don't think those are good projects. Like we were talking about earlier, just because I think something's a good project and will do well doesn't mean I need to put money in it, because I don't want to spread myself too thin, right? Like I make content on all of the projects that I enjoy. I track them on a daily basis. I'm very involved with the meme coins that I have large amounts of money in my portfolio in. I'm very active in terms of watching what's going on and whatnot. And so, there's a lot of projects that I think are good, but it's just, and it's not even that Brett is better than Pepe or Pepe. It's just more so like these are the meme coins that I've dedicated myself to for a long time now, like very early on, that I think have a high term conviction. And it's really hard for me to put more because I already have, enough plays, quote unquote. So those are kind of my main ones. I have money in a lot of other ones too, but it's just kind of, those are my main ones that I have majority of my meme coin basket money into.
I like what you were saying about how they had common themes, like Blood Boy, for example. We identify as a market meme thanks to our KOL Warren Buffett and his famous statement about buying the blood. Honestly, I like that part of the narrative, but I would like to stop using that narrative as much and move over more to the Pepeverse and Matt Fury side of things. But if you can find projects like Dodo, Pepe, Bobo, Blood, for example, or Andy, Wolf, Brett, projects that have similar narratives with communities that will have strong overlap. I feel like you can build more within those ecosystems with a basket of memes that are related rather than just having like random stories, random things. I feel like you end up adding less value, but if you find communities that will have a lot of overlap, you might be able to leverage the value that you provide for one community and will actually overflow both in the way the liquidity moves and the engagement to the other community. Something to think about.
For sure. Yeah. And I think when you find derivatives projects, it's like similar risk, but higher reward, in the sense that like, if Pepe is going to break its all-time high and do a 2x, I'm very confident that Bobo or Dodo will break its all-time high, but maybe do a 5-10x, but on the flip side of that, right, the reason they're a little bit riskier is Pepe goes down 25%, Bobo might go down 70%, 60%, right? So it is a bit higher risk, but higher reward.
And speaking of derivatives, Paul, your project Babies that you have, that's a derivative in the Matt Fury world and the derivative of the Boys Club, which I sort of think is a sub sector of the Matt Fury world. It's sort of cordoned off in a positive way. And I think that if the Boys Club, Brett, Wolf, Andy do big numbers, that a similar, or not a similar, but a lot of that liquidity is going to flow down into other Matt Fury projects, but also into a very relatable project, which would be Babies, because it's the prequel to what's happening with the Boys Club.
I'll tell you what, man, we're having a ton of fun with the content on that. We are just every day in the TG, we are just having a blast coming up with different ideas of the different things that Babies are doing. And then you add the kind of the donation / charity component in even kind of looking at the chart compared to what's happened over the past, say month, man, it damn near feels like a like a stable coin, given it's at a 200,000 market cap, and it's just nobody's selling. It's awesome. It is one of the dopest like conviction plays I've ever seen at 200,000. Doesn't happen like this, guys. I mean, it's crazy, and I think that's a testament to the community and what everybody believes this can be. And so, shout out to my babies community, man. We've been working, every day coming up with ideas, and not only that, we're donating $3,500 in the last 3 weeks at a 200,000 market cap. Nobody's doing that. And that's just, I think that just speaks to the culture and the integrity of the group.
Yeah, and that's going back to what we were saying before. Also, Missy Buck. Hope you're okay wherever you've traveled.
He's getting some White Claw.
Going back to what we were talking about on a good project, the market caps are not really going to be something you can control, Paul, unless you decide to buy all the coins, which I've definitely seen you attempt that. But you can't really control the overall crypto market. But when that community shifts from, oh, what's the price today? What's the price tomorrow? The volume goes down. The people are holding. They're in it for the long term. Then they start enjoying themselves and building that culture, building that community. For me, that's a cyclical meme coin. That's a cyclical project. That's something that I can feel confident and safe in. And I don't have to worry about tomorrow what's going to happen, because they're building something for the whole cycle. They're not looking at one candle. This is a zoomed out project. And when the liquidity comes back into the market, it's going to want to go into places and projects that have that zoomed out mentality, that have a good community, that have a good culture. And we're building throughout this difficult time. So kudos to what you're doing. And in terms of what you guys donate to babies, we did not get a positive response from sending blood to various nurseries. That effort failed miserably, and we really had to pull back on that. We'll be rethinking our strategy on our charity outreach.
It happens. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. You certainly picked a fun project to be the head of, right? I'm glad you didn't go like LA Bloods. Instead, you went Matt Fury Bloods, which is great. I feel like that could have gone a couple different ways. But yeah, I mean, the great thing about babies is through our community now. 4 of our community members, since I've been in crypto Twitter, have had babies. So now it's like we're asking, parental questions like, dude, are you sleeping? How's the baby doing? Did you register anywhere? We're sending stuff to community members, and that's how you create culture, is to really organically care about those that you're talking to.
Yeah. I got to stop pretending to care about everybody in the community. I think you bring up a really good point, Paul. I got to pretend better. No, it's something that you need to relate to. You have to build interest. You have to build interest on things. You got to help people out. And I think I just got to speak to you. I never planned on really running a project, and then I just saw Blood Boy, and it's something that I liked. I think it's relatable to everybody. The idea of blood, it doesn't have to really be explained. It has the concept of being a Matt Fury token. And what's really interesting is over the past couple of months, the concept of buy the blood has been drilled into everyone, and it just matches up really well. And that's something that's not forced, it just happens. That's another good point. Like, babies are babies. It's not forcing it. It is the babies. They are the boys club. It makes sense. And when something doesn't feel forced and the community can join in, you can relate to that meme, whatever it might be. That's a great meme to be in. That's a great community to be in. But if you wake up every day, you have to force yourself and figure out, how do I have this conversation? How do I make this artwork? Why am I not laughing when I'm making this artwork? Why am I not having fun? It's probably not a great meme, not a great culture, not a great community.
Yeah, agreed. And typically those may go up fast, but they come down quicker. and so knowing kind of the community that you're looking at, if you jump into Telegram and it's just kind of moon boy mentality of go up, go up, go up, pump, pump, pump. Um, you know, there's certainly money to be made, but at what cost? And to me, that's a little not congruent with who am I as a person.
I missed a few
And
things.
somebody in the
Can you hear me, guys?
just a few.
Yeah, my earplugs are dying left and right, so I'm juggling that. But you said you want to do something that you believe in. If I would assume you're saying if you're not comfortable ethically or morally, you don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I think it's easy for us to
very true.
chase, kind of chase projects and whatnot. But man, I did want to, kind of switch it up a little bit on us real quickly because there's a couple questions that were in the chat and wanted to make sure that we do get to those.
Yep.
Of which, kind of looks like one of the first questions is, this is in reference to Warren Buffett, and I guess specifically talking about how he is now the number one investor in Blood Boy. Which ones should we run towards, right? Which projects should we run towards? And before we answer this, we have to say this is not financial advice. So definitely do your own research.
Blood, do you want to take that one?
Which project should they run towards?
Yeah, it's basically which one should we run towards? Which may be a loaded question asking Blood Boy, but I'll put some more money in it.
Luckily, everybody on screen is invested in Blood Boy, so I don't have to worry about anybody arguing when I say invest in Blood Boy. But I'll give it as a good example of why I think that just pitching your project as the latest and the greatest doesn't give value, but there's a why which can. We've been consistent in our messaging, in our output, in our community, through the good and through the bad. The thumbs down. I don't know what you got going on over there. It's pretty funny. You want to see a project that's been consistent, that's been there for a while, that has had time in the network. Time has existed for a while. So we had that up, and then we've had this long down period. If a project has consistently been doing the output and has been providing the same memes, messaging, and has a strong community throughout that, the longer they do that, I would say the safer it is for you to go into that meme project. If it's been around for 5 minutes, for example, or 2 days, or even a couple of weeks, it's going to have a higher risk to it. So look for consistency in the output, and then look for something that you want to be a part of that aligns with what you feel is a good project and something that you enjoy being with. What about you, Storm? Besides Blood Boy, obviously, because that's an obvious yes. What would you say?
Well, in terms of what I look for in a project, one of the biggest things is who's running it, like the leadership of it. And those are the ones I tend to invest my money in and quote unquote run towards, excluding Blood Boy, right? Some of the other projects I happen to have known through, Twitter, or followed them for a long time. And those are the people kind of pushing those projects, behind those projects, shilling those projects. And, I've built up a layer of trust for those people, because I know, throughout historical evidence of other projects I've been in with them, they don't rug, they have invested interest in their projects. But yeah, for me, it's really about who's running the project, because whoever's leading the projects is going to be the main vessel to the community. And so, yeah, that's the biggest thing I look for. Obviously, you can go deep into the tokenomics of a project. You can look at, what whales are in the projects. What about the memeability, right? Because this is the meme coin space. So yeah, there's a lot of different things, but I would say the main thing is look who's who's in charge of the project, who's the leader of the project, and orchestrating it.
Yeah, I totally agree. The people behind it are going to be more of a catalyst than anything else for its success. Because if you got bad people, it's never going to go anywhere. That's super important. What about you, Paul? What do you look for in a project?
Some of the projects that I've had the most success in, I was and still am a part of the because Bitcoin Discord. And so, there were some projects that were called pretty early. I think it was like Andy at like 400 and Wolf at, similar 400. And so I got into some size with that. And then they called Bird Dog, and that jumped up and then quickly jumped down. And that was like my, sorry, the private chat's going off over here. And so this was my first foray was starting to spend some time on Bird Dog. And through that, I met a bunch of great people. And so over time, one was called by the name of Stonks. And so I got into Stonks at 30. Buck got into Stonks too. I got into Stonks, but I got into Stonks at like 30,000 and had a lot of it. I think I had like over maybe like 10%, something like that. And still holding a ton of it, and watched it just shoot up to what it did. And now it's where it is now. And I'm on the team, and we're in the trenches together, man. It's like a band of brothers as we continue to work on this through this chop. And so, as you start to look around kind of in the foxhole of these projects that we're in, as we're kind of going through this chop, it's like, are you, the person that's standing next to you in this project, are these going to be the people that you put your trust in, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if somebody panics, they dump, and what they're doing is basically dumping on you. And so for me, you build up that conviction, you build up those relationships. And so that to me is the most important thing, is running towards the trust in a lot of ways.
I think we got some really great answers here, and I think it's been a really good show. A lot of topics we've covered, gone over a lot of good questions. Have we covered all the questions, Paul?
There's one more, and
sure if
so I got to answer this one, so that way there I can try to expense this under my real estate marketing fund and not my crypto budget. Somebody asked specifically, how do you see blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies impacting the future of real estate transactions? Well, it's funny is because I have conversations about this often. I also am a partner in a title company. And so that's one way that this can be done, right? Is through blockchain technology to prove ownership, right? And to say that you can somehow get that deed on the blockchain. So that way there, every time it trades, there's proof of it. And there's definitely some things that would need to be kind of proofed up on that. One of which would be, if you file, if you're going to go buy a home and your roofer does work and you don't pay him, that roofer would then file a lien on the property, and that lien would have to be cured before title can change hands, essentially. And so that would be one thing that they would have to figure out there. I actually, kind of switching up on you guys, I actually did my first crypto transaction recently with somebody that I met in Spaces. I was on a Spaces, and somebody was talking about real estate, and it was a bunch of people that knew a decent amount about crypto but didn't know a damn thing about real estate. And so as I was just kind of like raising my hand, everybody just kind of kept on talking over themselves, and I was thinking, well, yeah, nothing I'm going to be able to do here. However, I picked up on one of the guys was in Austin, and so I hit him up on the side and was just like, hey, if you ever want to talk about investment real estate, let's wrap. And so through that, we went out to lunch, and actually I was able to help him find a place, and he's actually paying his rent in Solana, which is dope. And so I haven't heard too many investors that are down to do that. Obviously, there's a little bit of risk associated with it. However, at the same time, I have a conviction that I think that over the next 12 months, Solana will be worth significantly more. So why would I not collect rent in Solana? And I was also able to say, look, normally the market is, $1,700 a month. If you're willing to do, I'll take that in USD, or I'll take 1,800 a month in Solana. And he was down to take it in Solana.
Well,
That's
so you
all.
got a premium on an appreciating asset. I got to think about the next lease I sign with you over here. This is why Paul has two mics. I have none.
It's called bought the block, not rent the block.
You don't buy the block by doing now. That's really cool to see a real use case and that adoption. Obviously, you're at a very far end of that adoption, where it's coming from a personal choice and your involvement in the crypto community. But this is something that could happen, really quickly, very easily, and that's not a bull run or a bear run thing. That's an overall great thing, which is unbelievable. So kudos to you, Paul. I would definitely choose USD, take that out of the 100, and invest it in Solana so that I can afford to pay next month's rent with my returns of 180% on my Solana. But very cool. I got, yeah, that's awesome. I got a question over here, which is sort of a loaded question. Blood Boy, what parameters met would you consider to be a success for Blood? Blood to billions, more holders partnerships, survival of the next bear market, or something else? What is the ambitious goal? So I would say ambitious goal is Blood to billions. For me, that feels ambitious, anything with the word billions in it. But at the end of the day, it's all just things that are being said. I want to make sure that I go every single day and build the project, build the community, build the trust, build everything that's going to give it the ability to get to those places. The money, the market cap, the holders, it's all a symptom of what you do on a day-to-day basis. And if we give our best and we build our best, I think amazing things are going to happen. And that'd be something I will be happy with. And I think that the outcome could be bigger and better than we could ever imagine. But I just focus on consistent output and execution of that vision every single day, because talk is cheap, and actually executing and doing it on a high level and growing that value every day. If I can do that, I think really good things are going to come, and I will feel as if I always feel that it's a success for Blood Boy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, right? Everybody has that kind of like that. Yeah, crypto Twitter always likes to speak in alliterations, right? Blood to billions, milli to a milli type thing or whatnot. And
which I like that we start with a B, Paul, honestly.
It works out well. Yeah. This dude's just got all the sounds. Ben, I feel like we've said a lot. We definitely took us about 30 minutes to get our shit together, which is actually the happening of the help is disgruntled. He's getting pissed right now. We can't do this. Man, we've said a lot. And like to appreciate, thank everybody for tuning in. Storm, Blood. What else we got to say?
I think let's let you wrap it up. This has been a great show, minus what we discovered as a whole new set of technical difficulties to bring upon the world this time. But I think it's been pretty solid. Paul, you act like you don't have any more microphones left. I thought you at least like a bucket of 10 or 15.
I actually have a lot. Like, if you guys could see, like, we're literally $30,000 to $40,000 worth of equipment staring at us right now, and apparently none of us know how to fucking use it. But we, like I said, Manny, we're gonna figure out new problems every time, and so we sorted this stuff out. But again, guys, we've said a lot. We've had, what are we currently sitting at? About 367 people currently watching the stream, and it's been well over 200 the whole time. So I'll call this one certainly a success. Storm, thank you again, man. It's always a pleasure. The way that you break things down and just explain it, it's unique. It's a breath of fresh air, and I think it's going to be something that is going to be exciting long term, because I think it's going to educate a lot of people. So thank you.
Oh, thank you guys for bringing me on here, and I'm so excited to see how the show develops, and as we work out these technical kinks along the way, it's production's only gonna get better, and yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, we have a long road ahead of us, a lot of up movement on the charts, in my opinion, and we're gonna be there every step of the way the next year or two. So
Awesome, man. And speaking of kink, Blood Boy, what you guys got going on over there?
What part?
What part? No, man. Obviously, thanks for sticking with us on this one, and it's just going to continue to get better. So thanks for trusting in us on this end as we continue to evolve and get better. Anything else you want to kind of give them as we part out?
Yeah, I would say, look, we're trying to have consistency and tune in next week around. I don't want to say specifically exactly at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday.
We're rocking 8:30 ish.
We're at 8:30 ish. What comes on at first, we're not really sure, but we will continue to increase our buffer and hopefully run out of technical problems soon. And we really appreciate everybody who tunes in. We really love sharing, talking, and all the questions that people come and ask us.
And guys, please, please follow the channel. You look for updates. We're going to be cutting this content and putting it out throughout the week. We're launching on YouTube. We're launching on Twitch. We'll be on Instagram and TikTok as well. Buck is pushing for Pornhub. I do not think that's a good idea, unless if we can make maybe like a Storm cartoon, but what Storm actually identifies as versus so that way there they can hang out with Blood. But no, man, we'll keep getting better. And I know Buck has been excited to play us out on the next 10 minutes. He's been working on a nice routine for us.
Yeah, we give him enough time to learn how to DJ.
So Buck has been reading the DJ for Dummies book over here. And so if you too want to DJ like a dummy, follow Buck Rogers, DJ Buck Rogers. Guys, it's been
Buck Rogers.
Looking forward to next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Over to Buck. Thank you, everybody.
All my cats really rock, really to the top, yeah. Really hot, really to a Billy on the block, yeah. Millie to a Billy, I'm a block boy, that run it to the top, boy, run it. All my cats really rock, really to the top, yeah. Really hot, really to a Billy on the block, yeah. Millie to a Billy, I'm a block boy, that run it to the top, boy. My homie told me to run it. I grabbed that milli, I'm on it. These people think that I'm frontin' when I be throwing out hundreds. You know I'm bullish, let's run it. I peel back layers like onions. They said let's get to a Billy. I said, yo, have you met Millie? Yes sir, we out on that run. Okay, that cat got my tongue. Y'all ain't no rat in my pack because we second to none. I'm keeping bull on this token. You see me dodging these doges. I got ambition in motion. Okay, let's get to that close. Millie to Billy, I mean that thing off the really. We let the cat out the bag, baby, let's Millie to Billy. All my cats really rock, really to the top, yeah. Really hot, really to a Billy on the block, yeah. Millie to a Billy, I'm a block boy, that run it to the top, boy.
Picture this, I'm a bag of dicks, put me to your lips. I am sick, I will punch a baby bear in his shit. Give me lip, I'ma send you to the yard. Get a stick, make a switch. I can end the conversation real quick. I am crack, I ain't lying. Kick a lion in this crack, I'm the shit. I will fall off in your crib, take a shit. Hit your mama on the booty, kick your dog, fuck your bitch. That boy dressed up like you sat on and took pictures with your kids. We the best, we will cut a frowny face in your chest, little wench. I'ma mention a big fresh, I'm a bitch, yeah, correct. I will walk into a court while it wrecks, screaming, yes, I am guilty, motherfuckers, I am Jeff. Hey, you wanna hear a good joke? nobody speak, nobody get choked.
Sending this way, something feels about it, and then it goes about it. I just can't do the project. Tell me, is this fair? 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 Tell me, is this
Pyros and Crips all got along. They probably got me down by the end of the song. Seem like the whole city go against me every time I'm in the street. I hear
and down. Where you from, nigga? Fuck who you know. Where you from, my nigga? Where your grandma stay, huh, my nigga? This man city night run, my nigga.
brace yourself, I take you on a trip down memory lane. This is not a rapper, I'm slinging crack or moon cocaine. This is cold as second, plenty cognac and major pain. Not the drill sergeant, but the stress that weighing on your brain. Know your brain, 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 brain, brain.
Let me get a one-way ticket. I haven't picked a destination. I'm just trying to catch a train before I have to leave the station. Packing no bags, nothing but the clothes on my back with a cognac. Let me sip it, trying to relax. Red wine up in my glass, plus filet mignon. I got an army.
Buck Rogers.
Gang.
Buck Rogers.
Yeah, it's me.
Buck Rogers.
I guess I'll take them on. I might stop and see my girl, but I ain't.
Maybach music.
What if I'm gone? What the fuck you gon' think then? I told my story, put my life inside this ink pen. Said I'll make a big win. Everybody know me. Well, I made a big and everybody phony. So could you call me? I need a cup. No, not of that liquor mixing purple stuff. I could talk my pain, but would it hurt too much? Go ahead, judge me. Hey, costs money, but this love they just dreams. Turn them to reality. Double cup of lane. Standing on my balcony, looking at the sky, thinking it could all be mine. All we got is memories. So what the fuck is time? They just dreams. Turn them to reality. Double cup of lean. Standing on my balcony, looking at the street, thinking it could all be mine. All we got is memories. So what the fuck is time? What the fuck is time? Asking what the fuck is time? I don't know. What the fuck is time?
I ask her what the fuck's time. What do you do when you think you could be an icon? Cause all these people get to screaming when the lights on. Like they just seen a ghost, earn my stripes, leave a coat, racing to the gate, but my flight gone. And now these writers taking shots without a Nikon. But I don't fight though, figure it's a typo. Seems we in some shit now, gonna be alright though. Potion in my Sprite, then my night slows down. See, that's exactly what I need. My khakis filled with cheese, my homie Savage on the beat like it was Donald Trump. A fucking hit, but I just call it love. They throw it on when I'm walking in the club. Hey, this is Berg shit, I don't deserve this. Well, I don't think you looking for me on the surface. Learn quick, now I'm big time. Fill your cup up, and I'ma sip mine. Fill it up with dreams, turn them to reality. Double cup of lean, standing on my balcony, looking at the sky, thinking it could all be mine. All we got is memories, so what the fuck is time? They just dreams, turn them to reality. Double cup of lean, standing on my balcony, looking at the street, thinking it could all be mine. All we got is memories, so what the fuck is time? What the fuck's time? Asking what the fuck's time? I don't know. What the fuck's time? I asking what the fuck's time? Alright.
It's a takeover. Run that shit up to the top, yeah, we run the block. Crypto takeover, got it locked. Cooking whip the block. Run that shit up to the top, yeah, we run the block. Crypto takeover, got it locked. Had to stack the guap, run it up cause I'm bearish with it. 10x on them, ain't scared, I get it. Decentralized, let me emphasize how I'm stacking up coin as an enterprise. Go hustle the block, I got the codes and the keys to the lock, it's a takeover, we hit for the guap, and you know we keep holding till we hit the top, Run that shit up to the top, yeah, we run the block. Crypto takeover, got it locked. Cooking whip the block. Run that shit up to the top, yeah, we run the block. Crypto takeover, got it locked. Had to stack the guap.